The first cluster here is the Fool as well as the Devil. These are very, very opposing energies. And the way that the Fool card comes out, it indicates usually, which direction we're headed and whether or not it's going to be beneficial or detrimental to us. So try to, keep these things in mind as you progress through the reading. The Devil indicates a potentially toxic situation where you might have been used and abused. And that can be in a work environment. And I feel for many of you, it might be, work situations. I feel that you were, kind of like the work mule. People dumped a lot of responsibilities on you. You might have been in a relationship likewise, where you upheld your end of the bargain. You did a lot of the work. And I feel as well that there were imbalances, where there were like dependencies that gradually crept into that situation where you just did your job, but people were dumping a lot of responsibilities on you. I'm getting, the Virgoan energy here, where you're like the workhorse and everyone is like taking advantage of it. They probably neglected their work thinking that you would take over and, take care of it for them. You might have been in a position where you were starting out like an entry-level position, and then people who were on, your supervisors, your manager, they might have taken that situation for granted. They might have taken you for granted, or they might have given you responsibilities and then, didn't recognize you for your efforts. And I feel like a lot of you might have been tempted to say something in the past, but there was job security at risk. So you felt very, very stuck and tied to it, and you didn't really feel a way out. And I also feel like for a lot of you, there is going to be some karmic rebalancing of that situation, okay? And whatever amount of work you did, you're going to be compensated. So it could be, backlogged like overtime, for example, and it's going to be compensated for, okay? And even, like, for example, if you have been doing the brunt of the work that belonged to other people because they weren't taking care of their responsibilities, then I do feel, you are going to get some type of recognition as well as financial compensation. So I do feel that this is the month, if this is something that has been happening for quite like a long stretch of time, and I would say since March, April or so, or even as far as January, we are going to see a turnaround in this situation, and we're going to see you being compensated, okay? You might not get, that full recognition, but I do see some monetary compensation coming through. That's going to help you feel appreciated, and it's going to put that spring back in your step so that you can, fall in love with your job again and not feel so jaded when you come to work, okay? So that's coming through. I do see potential for promotions for a lot of you, like pay increases especially, and then promotions. And then for others, if you are stuck in a relationship where likewise you did the brunt of the work, I feel like for some of you, you might have like had a partner and then you did a lot of work to maintain that partnership. You might have children. And you did, you were working part-time, I feel, and then, or you were working like possibly even part-time or full-time. And then you went home and you took care of all the domestic responsibilities as well. And I feel like that allowed the other person to, pursue their career. That allowed your partner to really flourish and to really grew to their professional potential. And I feel like your career kind of veered off track as a result of it, mainly because you prioritize the relationship, you prioritize the housekeeping, you prioritize, and I don't want to say you prioritize the wrong thing. You did it because you knew it was a sacrifice. And I do sense like that caused a lot of stress and strain in the relationship, and the relationship might have broken up. And I feel like you might have been separated, but the divorce and things like that have never been finalized. So there's still some temptation here to go back to a situation from the past, professionally or romantically. And I feel that it wasn't entirely healthy. I see something about, burning the candles from both ends. Like you put a lot of work in, a lot of sleepless nights trying to keep everything afloat. And I'm also feeling like you might be tempted to, give it one last try. And it's not really advising you that you do that, because I feel like you're going to be swept off your feet temporarily, and then the same issues will come in a cyclical pattern, so that, 3 months down the line, you might have to, you're back here, figuring out, what do I do next? So while you're here right now, you should just try to move forward. Okay. Travel light, do so with a clean slate. I feel that it's going to be much better for you. And overall, I feel like you were not, I just don't sense it was a good situation to begin with. Okay. I do see as well, some situations where I feel like empty promises. Okay. Like, it was entrapment, essentially, is what I'm feeling with this devil card. It was a situation where they knew what to say to keep you there, to keep you stuck. They knew how to get you. They knew how to reel you in and leave you hanging. And then, you think things are going to get better. You fall back into it. Things don't get better because, like I said, it's like empty promises. So you need to really move on, and you need to take care of yourself. Okay. Moving on to the next cluster here, we do have the Page of Rods as well as the Ten of Wands. So the Page of Wands as well as the Ten of Wands. And the Page of Wands, in this deck, it indicates a fire sign. I feel like this is somebody linked up to your professional life, okay? So this is a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo. That is their sun sign, moon sign, or rising sign. And what I'm feeling is there's definitely some imbalances here. One person has 1, the other one has 10. So it's sort of like the imbalances are definitely jarring. There is somebody like this potentially in your work sector who is not pulling their weight, who is kind of like lost in this sea of responsibilities, and they're not really sure what they're supposed to do and where they're supposed to go. And I also feel might be an energy where you are, if you have recently started a new job, for example, like March, or I feel like March, or even in January, and you're still trying to get all your, everything lined up. You're still trying to get all, like, in the flow of the work environment. You're still trying to get in the flow of things. And I feel like there might be some situations coming in from the higher ups where they might tell you, hey, you're not doing this the right way, or you need to pick up, you need to pick up this other person's slack, or you need to take on more responsibilities. And you're just like, but I'm inundated. I can't possibly take on more. So there's definitely some conflicts here, I feel, in a current work environment as well. And where you're not able to freely, come and go as you need to, where you are kind of like being micromanaged, I feel. And you feel as if your freedom of movement is severely curbed. I do sense this work environment, a lot of, I'm sensing that, it's a high impact, possibly a very, very dynamic work environment, and a very hectic work environment. So there are possibly like a lot of crises that happen, or a lot of things where you have to like be very quick on your toes, and you have to solve things in a very like I guess like streamlined and in a very efficient manner. So I feel like you're trying to still get a handle of things when it comes to a new job for some of you. And you might be struggling as to how to do this more efficiently. How can I, increase productivity? And one of the best things that you can do here is talk to, supervisor, higher ups, and see what you can do to change enhance your workflow. And you might get some very solid advice coming through to you from supervisors, people higher ups, or even from coworkers. And if they're coming to you with these advice and they're dishing out valuable advice, really take it to heart and try to, try to take it as constructive criticism rather than brushing it off. I feel that that's going to be better for you, especially if you're a new person in a new work environment, even like, as far back as January, if you're still struggling at this point to try to keep everything balanced, especially to keep afloat with all of your responsibilities and learn new skills. They're pretty much telling you that there is a better way to do this. And rather than multitasking, maybe you need to reduce and focus your energy solely on one thing. We all, risk whenever we multitask, we always risk like doing all of those things not as well as we could have if we just focus on one thing at a time. So I feel like the thing here to do is don't overexert yourself, don't overextend yourself, don't make promises that you can't keep, and don't especially just like, you know, throw so much responsibilities on yourself and beat yourself up over not accomplishing them, because I feel like it's a disservice all the way around. Okay, a lot of you are working in a fast-paced environment and you have to keep up, and I feel like you're dwelling on possibly the wrong things, and so they're telling you, you know, handle one thing at a time. Don't cram up, and especially don't think that like, oh, I can multitask, I can wing it, I can, you know, figure things out. You're not going to be able to do it well, and it's really important that you try to know something and know it really, really well in and out, and then move on to the next thing. Now, Geminis are, you know, the jack of all trades, master of none. So I feel like this energy is very, very pertinent for you. And this is where, this is a month in which, you know, we're shifting into a time of Scorpio. And Scorpio deals with like doing something masterfully well and knowing the ins and outs of it extremely well. So I feel that, you know, that whole concept of jack of all trades, master of none might be to your detriment for this month. So it's telling you, don't try to multitask. Learn one thing, learn it in depth, be done with it, and then move on to the next. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And for those of you who are Geminis with Scorpio, you know, sun, moon, or rising, so you have like a Gemini Scorpio mixture. This might be playing out as an inner conflict within yourself. On the one hand, you want to get all of these things done and you're very skilled at all of these things. And then on the other hand, you have certain things that, you know, that people expect you to do mainly because you're an expert at it. And you're just like, no, but I don't want to do this anymore. I want to focus on the fun stuff. So finding that work-life balance is going to be important, but I do feel that you are going to get some type of appreciation for your skills, your knowledge, and the work that you have done to give you that, you know, emotional satisfaction where you can find inspiration and, you know, fall in love with your job all over again. So I do see that coming through. I do see new projects coming through here with the Page of Rods as well, the Page of Wands. And it indicates, you know, very good news coming overall. And it indicates new project base that, you know, projects like games and things like that. And I feel like you creative projects more than anything that can pan out wonderfully well for you. It might not pan out financially at first, but I do feel it has the potential to grow in that direction. So you're looking at this and you're looking at this additional thing that you can do on top of all the other things that you are devoting your time to. And I feel like you are just, you know, tempted enough to like take on this extra thing. And I feel that then we end up, if you were to do that, we end up here where you're pretty much tied up, inundated, and, you know, not able to move. So just be smart about this, okay? And, you know, try to whittle down the pertinent things. So don't take on everything. Don't overextend yourself. Don't overschedule. Don't overbook your time, because I feel like you're going to end up here where you're frazzled and you're stuck and you're just like really in a bad space mentally and emotionally as well. Okay. So the Nine of Swords is not a comfortable situation. It you know, the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it's sleepless nights. It's not being able to get restful sleep. A lot of worries, anxiety keeping you up at night. And I feel in this deck, it indicates, you know, your hands are tied. You're stuck in a situation and you can't see a way out. And overall, it's just the same type of energy echoed in differently. And so the main thing here is don't get yourself to this state, because I feel like you're so inundated with so many things. And the last thing that you need is to be mentally drained, because as an air sign, you really need your sharp intellect and your objectivity in order to function. And when you get yourself in this space where you're worried you're not going to be able to meet deadlines, it's not a good place to be. Okay. What's coming through as well is we do have the Six of Pentacles. And the way that I am seeing here is that I feel like a lot of you are paying people in order to help you. Like you're paying people, like You're hiring helpers, you're paying helpers, or you have some money coming through, either from a institution, a loan, a grant, a scholarship, something like that. If you are a researcher, especially if you're, if you're looking for some funding that's coming through, I feel that that's going to be made available to you. So the Six of Pentacles is a financial windfall. And I feel for a lot of you, you worked really, really hard to achieve something. You might have gone back to it, adjusted it many, many times. And then finally, this financial windfall is coming through as a result of the adjustment. You're able to hire somebody in order to help lighten your load. So for a lot of you, you might hire younger people. You might hire people of different ethnicities, is what I'm sensing. You might be working in proximity with a fire sign, a Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo. That is going to help lighten your load. They're very, very creative. I feel like this is overall a creative endeavor, and you are going to be able to, get some type of a reprieve, mainly because somebody's coming through to help you. And it's, it could just be a financial arrangement purely, but either way, you're getting some help and it's going to pan out really beautifully well. Okay. And then others of you, I feel like, all your work is being noticed. So you are getting some type of funding, government grants is what I'm seeing. And I feel like, especially if you're doing any type of research, and you need that seed funding in order to hire people to be research assistants or to, help you do some type of very, very tedious, boring, monotonous type of work. That's going to be coming through. So, a huge head burden is being lifted and you're going to start feeling light. And what I'm also sensing is this is traditionally, linked up with the Justice card here. It usually indicates some type of a legal battle where there is going to be some financial windfall coming through, settlements, as well as, alimony, child support, and things like that. Whereas before, you were feeling as if you couldn't really do it on your own. Now you're getting some help. Some justice is being dished out, especially concerning children. You are going to be able to get some alleviation to your anxieties and worries. And there's going to be, balancing out of child support, alimony, money coming through to help you either with child rearing or to help you, with business or things like that. So there's money coming through from an institution. It could be mandated by the court to give you some money, or it could just be a financial windfall as a result of some, grants, loans, and things like that finally coming through. That's really going to help you. The last two cards is the Justice card and the Nine of Pentacles. Now let's talk about the Nine of Pentacles first. This is a card that has been coming out for a lot of signs, okay? The Nine of Pentacles is a very, very good financial card. It usually indicates a business owner, somebody who's self-employed. You might be working in a contract basis, commission basis, or you might be just purely self-employed where your money is growing for you and you're generating money your own way. So you dictate your own hours. You can take on as few clients as you want or as many clients as you want. So there needs to be a balance, like a middle ground, okay? And they're pretty much telling you, lighten your load, because that means you're going to be able to do your job a lot better. Whereas if you overload yourself, overburden yourself, you're not going to do it well, and it's going to show in the final product with the Justice card here. So whatever you put in is what you're going to put out pretty much. So 10 here equals the Justice card, which is like balancing of that karmic scale. It's not going to end well. And we have 1 here with the Page of Rods, and we have a lot of financial abundance linked up with it. So whittle these choices down and stick with one thing that you can do really, really well. Encapsulate that, Scorpio energy where you stick to one thing and do it really, really well. And that's going to serve you well for the remainder of this month, okay? So there is financial windfall coming through. And for example, if you have been in a business partnership with somebody and they have, they contributed barely anything to the business endeavor, and, when the business partnership disbanded, They might have, you might have gone to court. You might have tried to extract yourself financially. And this is the month in which I feel, even if it's relationships, in love or in business, if it didn't work out, it is going to disband. And I feel like, both parties are getting their fair share. So whatever that means, if some business partners or romantic partners are not putting in their fair share, I don't feel that they're going to be able to recoup a lot from the end of that, partnership. Okay, so balance coming through and financial windfall coming through, especially for those of you who are employed. Self-employed. I feel that if you were waiting around for a big loan in order to start a business, that's also going to pan out very beautifully for you, so that you can start something and you can begin a new professional phase in your life, and to dictate and manage your own time, and to do run your business efficiently. Okay, so there is financial windfall, loans or something that will allow you to start a business. So I do see legal contracts being drawn up. Whatever was held up is going to clear towards the end of the month. I see the 11th and the 28th as being major, big like days within this month, where some news, some information is going to start clearing up. The energy starts clearing up for you. Obstacles start clearing up, so that you can begin this self-employment endeavor, so that you can, if you're waiting on loans and things like that, that's coming through as well. Okay, so it looks very fruitful. It looks really, really good. Now, in terms of your advice, let's talk about this. We do have here a fire sign with the Queen of Rods here. This is a male or a female, Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. And what I'm feeling with this person is that, the interaction between the two of you are very, very, very exciting. This can be a business partner, or it can be a romantic interest. What I do sense is there is a little bit of conflict of interest here. I feel like they're a little bit more for themselves, and then whatever they're giving you is not what you would expect. So I feel like you do want more out of this, union. And so they're telling you to really look at this situation and to, see how things have transpired in the past. If this is a brand new person, then I do feel there's a new burst of energy coming through, friendships, beginning of love and things like that. And it's going to allow you to, figure out once and for all what you've been missing, so that you can go out into the world and find it. And we are also seeing a lot of letting go endings, so that new beginnings can come through. And I feel like, the month of October was a lot of endings have been implemented. And you're at this point now where you can walk away from things. You have the closure you need in order to sort out your feelings, process your feelings, mourn the end of relationships and things like that, and move on. But the last card in this spread here is essentially, it's all about moving on. It's all about striving, going out into the world and figuring out what you've been missing, because now I feel that you have a renewed sense of self, confidence in yourself, as well as you're approaching this month with a no BS type of a manner. So I feel like you're not going to be settling for less. You're going to want more. You're going to want more emotional depth as well. Or if other people are demanding more of you and you're inundated with, work and things like that, you might have to cut ties in order to move on, so that you don't keep them hanging. Okay. So good energies, Gemini. I feel like, if you are able to let go of situations and things, you're going to be a lot more fruitful, and you're going to be, your energy is going to be very directed towards money-making endeavors. Okay. So finances looks especially strong. Relationships, I feel still hit or miss, but I'm going to do your relationship reading right now.